Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a little experiment I want to try called Let's Talk About Fanfics. In this time around, I will be talking about Rewritten by Justicus. As you can see plainly on your screen, the summary is about a Naruto who time travels after Madara Uchiha has the victory and thus the eternal Tsukiyomi in the grasp of his hand, seeking to stop him before he can pull in motion all his plans. He ends in the past. What is nice about this fanfic is how easily blows up the stations of canon. First of all, it's set in the middle of the Kirigakure, the village hidden in the mist, blood purges. It's a rather depressing time to start, but it's a good one because it allows a skilled author to grab this rather unknown region of Naruto's history and start writing whatever they want as long as it fits the themes. And in this case, it has Naruto recruiting several bloodline clans to Konohagure. Part of it is because, yeah, Mist doesn't want them, and someone else's trash is somebody else's treasure. Aside that, Naruto isn't so cold and pragmatic that he can see other people suffering, so he extends a hand. And I think that is perhaps one of the greatest things he's ever done in this fanfic because, well, it not only nets him a lot of allies and goodwill, but it still keeps in the character of Naruto, a problem many fanfic authors have. And we'll talk about some other time because good god, the ratio of fanfics that don't get Naruto to those that do are very big. Yeah, there are a lot of fanfics that don't get Naruto at all, but we'll talk about that later in another video. Anyway, moving on. Part of what I like about here in writing, aside the Naruto Mikoto romance that leads to even more butterflies, is that the secret of the peggy kinda goes out of its way rather quickly. Instead of having to be all hush hush, saying nothing about it, Naruto opts to reveal the secret almost immediately. He reveals it to the Sandaime, to Ichi Yamanaka, to Shikaku, to to everybody else, to those three people, the most important people in the history of the world at that point. Well, of Konoha at that point, because Yamanaka was the head of torture and interrogation. Shikakunara was the head of, well, intelligence, but the other kind of intelligence, the military intelligence, not the intelligence obtained by breaking people. Because as nice as Konoha is, they too have a department dedicated to extracting information out of people. Sorry about that. Anyway, more rewriting is that it easily changes the stations of canon and doesn't seek to be stuck in the way things happen. Naruto opts to take the vision that Hatake Sakumo would have taken, and part of his reputation is averted on that end. The mission still goes through with Satake Hakumo or Hatake Sakumo, apologies for butchering the name, but the followed isn't nearly as disastrous as it was in canon. In fact, it ends with let's shall call it subordinate vengeance under Sakumo's view. After everything that happens, the Rain Village is completely conquered by Konoha, and Sakumo is installed as the head of it, which is a good move as it prevents his suicide on one hand, on the other it ensures that Konoha will have a strong ally. Remember that as much as we like it Konoha, it kinda was alone in the sea of villages. Like, the only non-alliance we had is Suna, and Orochimaru not only easily killed Akage, but goaded the entire village to go into an invasion that cost them fairly dearly, and that they never quite recovered from even 3 years or 30 years after the fact. They got really screwed. And in a way, Orochi, and well, things happen. But between the clans and the alliances, Konoha ends also in a better position. And it's in a better position to face Madara. Another thing I liked about this fanfic in particular is a bit how Mikoto and Naruto start dating. In fact, it's Mikoto who actually starts thinking about breaking the contract with Fugaku. And here is the first criticisms I have of the fic. It could have done more. It could have done a whole lot more with the romance angle rather than use Fugaku with some dude she doesn't like. And her father is the actual head and the guy with power. Here's the thing, when you're doing this, I'm of the opinion that you have to show rather than tell. The only time we're shown Fugaku, as far as I remember, it has been like a like some time since I last reread it fully in depth. I mostly skimmed to see if my memories were accurate, but I think like there was just one scene where Fugaku was like a bit of a jerk, and it was well, he and Mikoto are dining, and Ambu pops up and says, "You are being called for a mission. Get your gear and go to the tower. Goodbye." And she takes the opportunity because, well, she's a ninja, she's an active duty ninja, and as part of the contract with the entire military forces is that any of them can be called at any moment for any reason if the mission happens to suit their capabilities, their skills. And this one did, and Mikoto, not wanting to be around this guy, goes off and he's annoyed. His diner got ruined. Sorry, his, yeah, his meal got ruined. The girl he likes dumped him, and she didn't pay for half of the food, leaving him with the tab, or the bill if you will. And yeah, that's a bit terrible on her end. And later on, Mikoto does elaborate the reasons why she doesn't particularly like Fugaku. She has the feeling she's just going to be a trophy wife. She's going to be forced to retire from the forces, get, beard him some babies, and look pretty while he handles everything in the clan. And she's just there, looking pretty as his trophy. and we aren't really given much hints this is going to happen. Like, we don't know anything about Fugaku or Mikoto in canon beyond they thought it was a good idea to try and rebel against Konoha, and that's a kind of worms I don't want to open. Suffice to say, Shimura Danzo has a lot of skeletons in his closet and a lot of stuff he has to answer for. A lot. And the way he went in canon, it's kinda cheap because he's never going to answer for the massive things he caused. Like 90% of the plot of Naruto is because Danzo kept meddling in. And I'm not even joking. If this dude died choking on whatever equivalent of pseudo feudal era Japan had of pretzels, the world will be absolutely a better place, leaving only Setsu and Madara as the main antagonists. And the irony is that this guy, by sheer accident, facilitated the plans of those two. What can I say? Going back to the topic, this is exactly a nice, light-hearted, for all it happens to be a ninja setting where kids are chill soldiers and they're expected to kill and die in the name of their village. But yeah, it's a nice fanfic. I actually like how Naruto is not exactly an invincible Superman. He actually screws himself with the clans. When he brings them in, he also brings the Terumi clan. Mei Terumi was already born around this time, and she becomes a Konoha shinobi. Whoops! While it further derails canon, it's also great because it's one of the things Naruto didn't think through, partially showing that he's not a super cold person that only thinks for what is best of his village, and partially because it's Naruto. He's going to extend a hand to help because he can extend a hand to help. He's all about breaking the old cycles, breaking the old taboos. So I think anyone who's looking for a fun romp, who just wants to sit back one afternoon, read 100,026 and 799 words, first should keep in mind this one. It's fun, it's simple. Good guys happen to have some setbacks, they overcome the setbacks, eventually the bad guy dies, and the world is a better place for it. The end. No angst, no, oh my god, what I do, what do I do? My secret is about to be discovered, but I can't let anyone know my secret because they could leak it, and I don't trust my village, but I trust my village, and I sacrificed everything. Sorry, it's a long list of issues I have with some staples of the genre that a lot of fanfic writers tend to recycle. And I will, before closing this round or this commentary, if you will, I will leave with a bit of a pointed word thought. I was going to say word, but that doesn't fit. I rather say thought. You live in a world where the second Hokage scientifically prove that there is an afterlife. He proved this how? By making a technique, a jutsu, that literally drags someone's soul from the afterlife, shoves it into an ash, mud, dirt, and some poor sod that was used as sacrifice to form a new immortal body with unlimited chakra, stamina, instantly regenerates all wounds for the most part. And you're going to tell me that the idea of someone either physically or mentally traveling back to the past in order to make things better, it's ridiculous. Like, this is also the guy who established the very scientific theory that all Uchiha suffer from anime or Hollywood menstrual periods. Yeah, this is the guy who says, yes, it's after a lot of thinking and seeing a lot of Uchiha go bad that I think that all Uchiha have a problem. The problem is that when they awake their Sharingan, evil chakra, take note guys, goes into their eyes and alters slowly their thoughts, making them feel emotions far strongly than anyone else. And that is why the next level is so hard to achieve, because they must feel an even bigger emotion. They must kill someone they love in order to get the Mangekyo Sharingan. And inevitably, this evil chakra is going to compel them to do that. Like, dude, yes, the Uchiha were very bad people, were terrible people. They developed the jutsu, abused the hell of it, had to develop a counter jutsu to that jutsu. But dear lord, man, you made one of the biggest discoveries ever, and then you go ahead and start spouting this nonsense? And it's this kind of nonsense that writers should be aware of, because the argument that it's stupid and ridiculous that someone time traveled becomes null and void when we have these the absurd things Kishimoto wrote for the series. I can't say anything else. Like, what else can I say? Oh yeah, I can say, please read this fanfic. It's quite a good one. I think it deserves a good chance. Give it a look. You might like it, you might not like it. I like it. I think it's one of my favorites. And with that being said, I bid you a good night. I hope you rest. You wake up next day in perfect shape and fitness. So, goodbye. See you next week for more fanfics. In this case, I'm gonna tackle a fanfic that is also of this genre, but by a different author. The fanfic is sadly dead. The author is, I think, Beyond Reach, but it's by Morton's Press. The Leaves, Naruto.